So TikTok gave me the ability to record 10-minute videos. Gonna make them regret it. Here's 10 minutes of answering unanswered questions from my drafts, brought to you by Item Label, the same people who gave me this cool hoodie, link in my bio. How hard and fast would you have to pee to cut the Earth in half? Well, believe it or not, we've estimated this. You would need energy the equivalent of about 7.5 billion tons of TNT. Now that would be if you peed that all at once. Basically a pee explosion. You could apply that energy in multiple ways. For example, instead of applying a bunch of energy all at once, you could expend a little bit of energy over a long period of time. Which means if you were immortal, and the sun never swallowed the Earth, and the geological processes of the Earth never ended up filling up your progress, and time never came to an end, you could cut the Earth in half eventually just by peeing at your normal rate for quintillions upon quintillions upon quintillions of years. Better get started. You heard the drug war was horrible for our economy. Is there any truth to that? Most experts agree, yes. I mean, for one, we have not seen a substantial drop in drug use since the war on drugs started. Marijuana is still illegal in most states, not here in good old Jersey, and people have been talking about it like it's commonplace. So all that money invested into anti-drug propaganda has basically gone down the drain, and it's not an insubstantial amount of money. Also, there's the lost opportunity costs. Remember, everything you buy is taxed. So whenever someone buys a drug illegally, that's money that your local government doesn't make, which can't be reinvested into your community. And historically, we've been here before with prohibition. It had a ripple effect on that economy at the time too. Money was wasted on stopping people from drinking. People drank anyway. And in general, the cost of living went up. And as more and more states legalize marijuana, they are seeing boosts to their economy. New businesses are opening up. More tax revenue is coming in. And perhaps counterintuitively, drug use hasn't gone up, it's gone down. In states where there's no legal threat to procuring a substance, there's less danger for holding on to that substance, which means you no longer get into these rapid cycles of buying and using illegal drugs. So yeah, I'm not an expert economist, but drugs are being legalized now for the same reason booze was legalized when Prohibition ended. It's honestly just better off for everyone this way. How hard would you need to fart to launch yourself into space? This is actually not that complicated of a question. Remember, it's not just a matter of force, it's a matter of total energy. Like a space elevator could take you to space with very little force, whereas a rocket is a lot of force all at once. For a 200-ish pound man, looking at anywhere between 1.7 to 2 million newtons to launch yourself into space. But that's like a direct launch, like if someone punched you into space. So if you farted all at once, that would be the amount of newtons you would need. Again, you could reduce that by farting over a longer period of time. And I would suggest it because releasing all that force out of your ass all at once probably would kill you. Could a kaiju exist, like a terrestrial life form 30 meters plus in height? I hate to break it to you, but no. Or at least not here on Earth. Have you ever heard of the square cube law? If the surface area of an organism is squared, then its volume is cubed. Your insides grow a lot quicker than your outsides, which means your weight is going to increase quicker than your height. This means you're going to need more muscles to support yourself, denser bones to support yourself, and stronger organs to pump blood around your body. But to get those stronger, denser muscles and organs and bones, they need to weigh more, which further creates the problems for stronger muscles, bones, and organs. It can be solved with bigger muscles, bones, and organs, but then you run into the square cube law again. Simply put, giant creatures would collapse under their own weight in Earth's gravity. However, when you counteract the force of gravity, by creating some sort of support structure, you can reduce that wear and tear on the body. Like you mentioned a creature 30 plus meters, right? Blue whales can just grow that big. 33-meter blue whales have been found in the Antarctic. But blue whales are supported by the buoyancy in water. Remove that buoyancy and put them on land and they just collapse under their own weight. But that's the reason you could find bigger animals in water than on land. You know, like giant squids. Take away that buoyancy and suddenly they just can't exist anymore. Which is why I said kaiju couldn't exist on Earth. Reduce the force of gravity on these creatures, and they could get bigger. I mean, there's still limits. You still have to, have a powerful heart to pump blood around you. But less gravity means less chance to collapse under your own weight. So yeah, if your definition of a kaiju is a creature that is 30 plus meters in size, then we have kaiju in our oceans on Earth. But you did say terrestrial, which implies that it lives on land, and implies that it lives on Earth. In which case, likely not. You're going to have to go to the oceans or the stars for this one. My good friend Brosif asks, what are examples of fields other than magnetic? Well, the field that you're most likely familiar with is the gravitational field. That's, why we're stuck on Earth right now. Gravitational field. Jumping. Everything that has mass has a gravitational field. And technically, this gravitational field stretches throughout the entire universe. It's just that it's impossibly weak at long distances. Now, you pointed out magnetic fields, but of course there's also electric fields, and those are just matters of perspective on the electromagnetic field. And technically, you could represent any wave as a field. Like, we have electromagnetic waves, we have an electromagnetic field. We have gravitational waves, we have a gravitational field. That technically means that sound waves have a sound field. That sound field is just matter, though. It's air and, whatever else sound travels through. Sound field. Heck, waves in the ocean have a field. It's the ocean. Since all quantum particles are also waves of probability, they have their own quantum fields. In a very real way, a field is just stuff that stuff can happen in. And we got a ton of those. But the classical fields are mostly electromagnetic and gravitational, and then you have quantum fields. Those are the basics. What happens if the world was ending and you went back in time to try and fix it? Okay, so I'm going to start out by saying that in our current model of physics, time travel seems to be impossible. I know that there are a lot of what ifs and blah, 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 blah. Right now, the data shows that it's impossible. But the theoretical models that we do have, in which we theorize that any type of time travel could occur, time travel would have to be causally consistent. In sci-fi movie terms, that means you can't change the past. Whatever you did in the past to try and prevent the future already happened in the past to make this future happen. There is no rewriting history. There is just our timeline. Even if the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics were true, and there were other realities out there where different stuff happened, those realities are completely cut off from us. Time traveling would not allow us to visit them. Time traveling does not alter our quantum state of matter, which is what the many worlds theory is talking about. Which means that if time travel were possible, which once again, current model of physics says it's not. If time travel were possible, then you would go back in time and end up right back where you started, changing nothing. Because when we did this timeline the first time, you already would have been there back in time. We don't like paradoxes much here in the real world. Sucks to be everyone in Back to the Future, I guess. In Chrono Trigger. Actually, they made a game about how it sucked to be in Chrono Trigger. It was called Chrono Cross. Everyone should play Chrono Trigger, by the way. Getting off on a tangent here, it's really windy, and it takes a long time to film 10 minutes of video. Would Harmon count as mass energy manipulation? Okay, I know you're talking about Hamon from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I'm going to choose to interpret this as, does Dan Harmon count as mass energy manipulation? My answer is no, but the ability to manipulate Dan Harmon is mass energy manipulation. For those of you who don't know this model, there are basically only two types of superpower. Your superpower can manipulate mass and energy, which is everything that's covered by quantum mechanics, or it can manipulate time and space, which is everything that's covered by relativity. You're only ever doing one of those two things. And if we ever find the grand unified theory of physics, you're only doing one thing. So Hamon is manipulating energy of some sort, specifically the energy of the sun through your breathing. At which point, yes, it would be classified under mass energy manipulation. Which means if you were to break down JoJo's Bizarre Adventure scientifically, and I don't know why you would, there would be some sort of field that governs the use of Hamon. Waves in that field would create basic Hamon particles. That's what would create the Hamon effects we see. So yes, Hamon is mass energy manipulation. Dan Harmon is too. I am going to have to show people why 99.999 is equal to 100. Well, this is relatively simple because other people have done it for me. Here's a proof. Let x equal 0.9999 repeating. 10x, due to basic mathematics, is 9.9999 repeating because you just moved the decimal place. That means 10x equals 9 plus 0.9 repeating. 0.9 repeating is x, so 10x equals 9 plus x, or 10x. Subtract 1x from each side, and you get 9x equals 9. Divide 9 by 9, and you get x equals 1. And if we remember, x was 0.9 repeating, so you get 0.9 repeating equals 1. Thus, 99.99999 repeating equals 100. Do I have any tips on learning, and you love the content? Thank you so much! So here are my biggest tips on learning. Number 1, feed your curiosity where it strikes. People tend to feel bad when they fall down wiki holes. You don't have to. You should not look at acquiring new information as being unproductive. Number 2, don't burn yourself out. Cognitive impairment due to lack of sleep is very real. And in fact, studies show that if we nap immediately after we learn new information, we are more likely to retain it. So in all actual honesty, take a nap. 3, ask questions. While reading studies and reports is useful, nothing is a substitute for a good teacher. Asking questions will get you a long way. And finally, don't let any piece of info be your last stop. For example, my channel is just meant to get you out there doing your own research. Keep at it and you'll go far. Anyway, I've been out here for hours doing this. I'm probably never doing this again. It's very windy and I'm very uncomfortable. But big thank you to everyone who stuck by me. As a reward, here's a sneak peek of my dog. Please click the item label link in my bio. Thank you so much.